Hi, I'm Cliff Baker with Better Homes and Gardens Lifestyles Realty, and today we're talking to Kayla Tyer with Fairway Mortgage. How are you doing today, Kayla?
I'm great, Cliff. Thank you so much for asking. Thank you for having me today. And I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to work with you and partner with you.
Absolutely. The pleasure's mine. You do an outstanding job, and it's one of the reasons that I reached out to you is because of the experiences that I've had with you and also our customers. It's been first class and top notch. So
Thank
So
you.
tell me a little bit about how you got into the business and how you started.
Well, I actually started my financial career in January of 2006. After I went to college, I started working for a bank and did that for about 10 years, really learned a lot, grew my roots, and just was faced with a lot of challenges with the 2006, 2008 crash. So I survived that. But in 2015, I decided to get my license and my mortgage license because I wanted to just make a change in my career. I wanted to stay in finance, but just focus on one thing, which was the lending part of it. So I made the leap, went to the dark side to the mortgage industry. All fun intended, but went to the mortgage industry in 2015 and have been doing this ever since.
That's great. Um, I think that you've definitely made the right choice in
Thank you.
your career, and like I said before, you're great to work with. So, what are some of the things that you find enjoyable about being a loan officer?
Probably the number one thing would be helping people, being a part of their lives. Everybody, I feel like most everyone's dream or bucket list is to own a home and for their growing family, or even maybe they're downsizing because they're no longer raising children. They want to go to their retirement home, whatever stage they are in their life, being able to be a part of that. It's one of the biggest purchases people will ever make in their lives. And making sure that I hold their hand throughout the entire way, because it is a very scary purchase. People are can be stressed out about it. I mean, I was when I bought my first house, and to have someone that you have the confidence in and be able to truly show those people how you care, that's probably my favorite part, is just helping people with realizing their homeownership dreams. um, I mean, I really enjoy my job. I love math. I love numbers. Ever since I was in grade school, it's kind of like I've known my calling is going to be anything to do with numbers. And looking at every financial situation is different, and looking at them and trying to piece a customer's financial situation together to fit the loan product they may be approved for or qualified for. And they could be approved or qualified for three different loan products, or three different types of mortgage programs, and helping them know which one is the best one to go with, that best fits their situation in the long term and even right now. um, is I really like doing that because it's like a puzzle to me, and I love putting together puzzles with numbers.
Awesome. So, Kayla, tell me how things are right now.
Oh, right now.
I mean,
So
it is 2021. We're looking
yeah,
at September 2021. It's been a very interesting year in real estate.
it
So
has.
tell me a little bit about how things are in the mortgage world.
Well, I feel like it's kind of, last year was an all-time record. This year is continuing to be another all-time record. Um, it is it is very competitive for buyers right now, and well, because it's a seller's market. So there are not enough homes on the market for enough buyers that are trying to purchase them. So there's this bidding war that's going on right now, and customers, some of our buyers that maybe aren't highly qualified. And when I say like perfect credit, 20% down, or more, or have a lot of cash, it's harder for some of our first time home buyers, our veterans, and buyers that are FHA maybe don't have as perfect credit. So it's just a tough market, but we're trying to put together strategies to help our customers be able to compete in situations. We're putting some of our customers' files through fully through underwriting, So they're fully underwritten ahead of time, and maybe they can offer like a 14-day close instead of a 30-day close. It's everyone's kind of just trying to have to put in, their thinking caps on to make deals work and make their customers' offers win. And that's kind of how it is right now. You want to be able to make sure that you work with someone who is experienced, who knows some of these tips and tricks and ways to get your offers looked at and accepted, and who has a good reputation, because no one wants to work with someone that they can't trust will get you to the closing table. So that makes a big difference too. But the market is very, very competitive right now. And all the economists that I've talked to and the calls that I've been on, they're saying it's going to continue for the next 5 to 8 years, because the millennial population, which I know I've talked to you about this, Cliff, before.
Yes.
It is the largest adult population in the country right now. And that's people between ages 25 and 40. So the oldest millennial is turning 40 this year. And 30% of them have owned homes. So that's 70% of the largest adult population in the country that are still not homeowners. And they're the ones that are driving this market right now. And they're going to keep driving the market for the next 5 to 8 years, because that generation is late in establishing homes or families. So they're late in getting out of the house. They went to college. The majority of them have saved their money. They saw their parents go through 06 and 08. They're just more savvy buyers. And we're seeing that they're now starting to wake up, and they have good money and good credit and good job history, that they're the ones that are really driving the market right now. So it's not going to change anytime soon.
Okay. Well, that's very interesting. I think you're
Yes.
absolutely right. I've gone to conferences where economists are saying the same thing. Things are going to continue to be tight with regards to inventory. One of the things that we were talking about, you and I, before, is we were talking about the fact that after 08, the builders started slowing down building, because in 08 they were left with so much inventory. Right. So I think that is a pretty big part of what we're seeing. Is we're seeing low interest rates who are fueling the market, plus building hasn't kept up with demand, so it is fueling buyers into the market and our scarcity of inventory. Yep. That's for sure. So what are some of the things that you're doing to, as a lender on your side, what are some of the things that you're doing to help your buyers win?
So I personally will call the listing agent. I will have a conversation with them about the strength of my buyer. That's one of the first things that I do. Sometimes I know the listing agent, which is helpful. And I also will write a letter as well, so they can present that letter to their sellers, just again speaking to the strength of the borrower, how I have already gotten all of their documentation, because I really try to do that right now up front, is make sure that not only do they qualify, just doing a pre-qualification, pulling their credit, but also that their documents match what they say on the application and get one step ahead. So I'll write a letter. I know sometimes that letter doesn't always get to the sellers, because it can be considered, fair lending and RESPA guidelines. I get it, but I still do it. Sometimes it gets to them. Also, we have what's called the Fairway Advantage pre-approval, which is in my background. That's what I was saying earlier, that we will collect all of our customers' documentation, income, all of their assets. We will get their driver's license, everything we need, 2-year residence history, 2-year employment history, and we'll go ahead and submit their file to underwriting as a complete approval. So we have that Fairway Advantage pre-approval letter from our underwriter stating that they have been fully underwritten, fully approved. If there are any outstanding conditions, I'll get them right away. Go ahead and get those cleared, so that the only thing we have to do is add in the address and hope for, their offer would be accepted or looked at over someone else, because we can offer a 14-day close. All we have to do is the appraisal, vet the house, make sure that's done, the title work. That's usually, everyone can do that pretty quickly if everyone's on board. but that makes our customers' offers more competitive right now. They can compete with cash buyers when they have that Fairway Advantage pre-approval. Another thing that we've done is sometimes we might offer cash to the seller and cover maybe some of their closing costs. So I know that's one of the strategies I believe that you and I had worked on before. We paid like the seller's closing fee, and the buyer paid their owner's title policy. We didn't ask for the seller to pay for some of the things they customarily pay for here in North Florida. So that has helped. And I'm just trying to think of another. I mean, there's a couple of other strategies. It just depends on the buyer and their situation in that house and the seller situation. But we usually will put our heads together, and those are some of the main things that I've done recently. Are those almost on every one of them that we know are competing.
So I've heard about some lenders waiving the appraisals. What is that all about?
That's a property inspection waiver, and not every customer qualifies. So if they have to be doing a conventional loan. And usually it depends on the file, because not everybody can qualify for it. But if they're putting a significant amount of money down, they have a very, very high credit score. Usually it likes like 740, 750 or higher. And the property where it's located, we do put the property address in, and we run it through what's called either a desktop underwriter or a loan processor. Those are our two systems we have to run every file through to receive an approval. It'll tell us when we run it through if this property is eligible for a property inspection waiver. And if they are, then it really may not matter necessarily what the home will appraise for. Unless the customer still wants the appraisal, they have the option to waive it. But it's really, it's an overall model of that file. And if it's got to be large down payment, good credit score, reserves for that customer needs to have reserves too. And it's in a growing market, then that home will most likely have a property inspection waiver.
Okay, awesome. So tell us a little bit about what you guys offer at Fairway.
Well,
and what you offer specifically at Fairway.
I do. So Fairway, I will say first and foremost, it's all about my team. You see me a lot. I know I'm the face of a lot of the transactions, but the one thing that Fairway does offer is our processing team, our underwriting team, our closing team, and our opening team. One of our core values is family first, and Fairway treats all their employees and everyone within as if we're all one big family. And where you work matters, and the support that you have behind you working on your loans, that I know I can hand my loan over to my processor and she's going to review it and get it over to the underwriter right away, or let me know if there's a red flag immediately. Just the communication and the backup that I have from my team is what Fairway stands for. So that will be one thing I would say. Probably the first most important thing is just our teamwork here. And then as far as products, so we do first time home buyer. I am trained. I have done continuing education. I have to go through a course with the state of Florida in order to offer their first time home buyer products. So I am one of the lenders listed with them. So we do every first time home buyer program that's available. And we do FHA, VA, and USDA loans. So if you're a veteran and you're not aware of this, you might want to look into it, but you could do a 100% financing on the purchase of a home. So you can finance the entire purchase and use that benefit, because they've definitely earned it to be able to finance their home and use their VA benefit. We also do conventional financing. The one thing I would say, if you've never owned a home before, or if you're selling your home, your departure residence, and buying your new home, as long as you've sold it before, you can get away with as little as 3% down on a conventional loan. So sometimes people want to keep their cash because they want to put the money into updating the house that they're buying, or maybe they have plans for kids for college or whatever it is. Maybe they don't have a whole lot of money. 3% down is the minimum on conventional. So a lot of people don't know that. We also do renovation financing. That is my background. It's one of my, I love it. That's fun to me. So we do, Cliff, you know that too.
Yes.
It's exciting to see a home updated and turned into something that you want it to be, and being a part of that with the contractor and seeing the plans. And I love getting before and after pictures. And a lot of people don't realize that they can buy a house that's distressed, or that might be as is, cash only, cash or conventional on the listing. They can buy a house and still use other types of financing. So they can still do FHA as long as they fix maybe the repairs that are required and do it as a renovation loan. And it opens the door up for other homes that they could potentially look at. So we do renovation financing. We also do condo financing, which is a lot of people have been wanting to buy condos. Maybe they don't want a big yard. They just want a small house they can live in or have and eventually maybe rent out, or a second home. We do jumbo financing. I've done loans up to 2 million is the largest loan that I've done, but I know we can probably do more than that. I just have only done up to 2 million. And we finance mobile homes. So those are types of properties too that people want to buy. They cannot be older than a 1976. They have to be a double wide. So cannot do single wides, but mobile homes as well. So we pretty much do everything that you can think of. And if we can't, we'll find a solution. So
Is there something new that's going on with the FHA loan and how the credit's being determined, the credit score?
So maybe you might be talking about student loans, maybe on FHA loans. I will say that's a new change.
Okay.
I haven't really seen anything yet on credit.
Okay.
I know the minimum credit scores on FHA, VA right now are 600. The guideline says 580, but because of COVID, we are making it 600. And it's so for the one change that has been made with FHA, because they're trying to make it where more people are able to afford a home. So I do believe there's not as the credit's not necessarily tightening up on how the credit score is, how the model is when you run and get someone's credit report. I do believe that's not as tight or not as strict as it maybe have been in the past. But as far as student loans, in the past, if you have a student loan and you're an FHA borrower, we had to count 1% of the balance as a payment. So 1% of the balance and put it in your monthly payment and count that in your debt, even if it was a deferred student loan, even if it had zero payment or you were on an income-driven payment plan, we still had to hit you with that 1%. And sometimes, customers that I had with a lot of student debt, it would kill their ability to be able to buy a house. And that was recently changed. A law went into effect that we can use the income-driven payment plan. So say they have $50,000 in student loans, instead of me hitting them with a $500 payment, if their income-driven payment plan that they've agreed upon is maybe $100, that is huge. So I can use that $100 payment against their debt instead of $500, as long as I can document that they've gone under the income-driven payment plan with the student loan department, and they can qualify. Or if they're not in an income-driven payment plan, then I have to count 0.5%. So again, using 50,000, if that 50,000 did not have an income-driven payment plan, and I counted 0.5% instead of 1%, then I can only hit them with a $250 payment, which still could really help them with qualifying. So that's one thing that I have noticed, this change in FHA. I really believe that even our legislature right now wants people to be able to still, they see what's coming and they want people to be able to afford homes, and they're making the right changes.
I completely agree. Excuse me. So if Kayla, if you had any advice for somebody wanting to get approved, but they're unsure about their credit, or they're unsure about kind of what the process looks like, or they have some issues with their credit and they want to build upon that so that they're able to buy, like what type of advice would you give them, or what types of steps would you would you give them in order to help them?
Well, the first step would be they want to see where they stand. So it's really important if you don't know if you can buy a house, but you've been thinking about it. I would say you want to talk with a lender with me. I'd be happy to be the person that would do that and take your information to actually do a formal application. That's because then you know where you stand. You know if you have things you might need to work on your credit or how much money you may need to save. You might know what your buying power is. That's really going to be important, is to know where you stand and get qualified. And if for some reason you can't get qualified because it might be credit, then I'm happy to go over the credit with them, tell them some things they can work on that they can get their credit where it needs to be in order to be able to qualify. It could be a couple months. It could just be as simple as making a payment or two. But everyone's situation again is different. So that's why one thing I like about this is that helping that individual and giving them those tips for their credit repair to get them to be able to buy a house. But number one would be to see where they stand to get qualified. Secondly, it's so important to make payments on time. I mean, I cannot stress that enough. If you have a late pay and it's, you slipped up and there's a one-time event, that's explainable. But going out, you don't want to overextend yourself. If you're trying to establish credit and getting new credit, I would maybe recommend, which I did this for myself whenever I started getting credit, was go ask a parent or some family member if they would be willing to add you as an authorized user on one of their credit cards, one that's got a great history, it's been open a long time, has a really low balance, it's not maxed out. And you don't even have to get access to the card. You can just say, I just want to establish and build some credit. Can you help me? 9 times out of 10, they'll help you and they'll get you access or add you as an authorized user. You will immediately inherit the credit history as if you've had that account the whole time with them. And so that's one of the things that I'll recommend is go do that and then go get your own credit card. So once you've been able to establish that credit history, get your own credit card. Do not go rack it up. Maybe just put gas on it once a month and then pay it off, put gas on it the next month, pay it off. But establishing history. So it's the age of your accounts, the balances to your limit. You want to keep that low. So I would recommend keeping your balances on your credit at 10% or less of the limit. And then the ability for you to be able to make your payments on time and not having a lot of credit inquiries. You don't want to be out there always shopping for credit, getting your credit pulled every other month. Really only get credit when you need it. So once you've been able to establish that credit, then you can get your name off of your parents' card as an authorized user. And now you've got your own card. So that would be some of the things I would recommend. You really just making sure you pay all your bills on time, keep your balances low, ask someone, a family member to help you. They're more than likely going to, especially if you're young. And if you're not, and you have credit and maybe less than perfect credit and need help, figure out where you stand and get a professional to help you, and we will help you.
All right. So one of the biggest questions that I get when I'm doing buyer consultations with first-time home buyers specifically is that they're really concerned about lenders running their credit because they don't want their credit to be hit with inquiries. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely.
And, does that inquiry that you guys do, or if they're shopping rates, how does that impact their credit?
So when you're mortgage shopping, that is the one type of credit inquiry that, as long as from the first day you have it pulled, as long as you do it within 30 days of the first credit pull, it will only count as one hit on your credit report, because you are allowed to shop for mortgages. You're allowed for mortgage shopping. Other credit inquiries, like if you're trying to shop for a credit card, if you're trying to get a car, they will hit every single time as one inquiry. It doesn't matter if it's a day apart or same day. it'll count as 10 inquiries if you've had your credit pulled 10 times. But on a mortgage, pulling it for mortgage shopping will only count as one. And then it's got to be within 30 days of the first time your credit was pulled. So it's not terrible. Actually, there's a big misconception about having your credit pulled for mortgages, that it's going to hurt you. And when we pull your credit, it is good for 120 days. So it's 4 months almost. And that's a long time to be able to get your credit pulled, start shopping for a house, put in a contract on a home, and get to the closing table. That's plenty of time. The average loan closes in about 30 days. So that's plenty of time.
All right. Well, Kayla, is there anything that you would like to say, and kind of to to go ahead and finish up here?
Well, I appreciate you having me on, Cliff, and I can't stress enough, if you are thinking about buying a house or you've never owned a home, just get with Cliff. He will direct you to his partners that will help you. They will help you get qualified and see where you stand. That's the first and foremost important thing, is if you're looking to buy a house, figure out where you stand, because you don't know what you don't know. And when you surround yourself with professionals who care about you, who have a team, not just, okay, we are working transactions together, but we're actually friends. And that makes a big difference. We pick up the phone when each other are calling. We care about you, treat you like we're family. I will tell you that that's who you need to find, as a team like that. And Cliff is great about that. And if you're looking to get qualified, that would be the first thing, is to see where you stand.
Well, definitely, I can tell you that I think your business philosophy and my business philosophy is very, very similar, in the fact that, we want to be able to help people, and we want to be able to give them advice that, we would give probably our own families.
Exactly.
Because that's really, really important, is that, we're in this business to help you and to help your family, with regards to that. So Kayla, where can they get a hold of you? Where can they reach you?
Oh, wow. You can get me on my cell phone. The best way to get a hold of me. 904-208-8993, or I have a website, super easy. It's mortgagesbykayla.com. So,
okay.
But either one is honestly the best way. Easy to get a hold of me, or Cliff. You can call Cliff. Cliff knows how to get a hold of me.
All right. So let me ask you this: like, if they want
Yes.
to do an application, could they do an application online?
They can. They sure can. They can do it online. I actually have an app as well. So there's an app you can download. You can do it through your phone, on your smart device, or even over the phone. I'm happy to take people's information over the phone if they're more comfortable. And but when they do apply, I am notified right away, and I get right back with them and call them and go over their application. So they're not going to deal with the computer the whole time.
All right. Well, that sounds great. Kayla,
Yes.
I want to tell you that I really appreciate the opportunity to sit down with you today and go over kind of what you do, and how you help people, and all of the options that you guys have. I think that's very informational today.
Thank you.
My name is Cliff Baker. I work for Better Homes and Gardens Lifestyles Realty. And just for Kayla and I, we really appreciate the opportunity to come to you today to give you this information. So you can always reach me at 904-466-1020, or you can email me at cliffbakersells, that's SELLS, @gmail.com. Kayla, thank you again, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.